Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF XFit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. I'm Joe Castello. Race 1 of the NHRA playoff, known as the Countdown, is in the books. Maple Grove, Pennsylvania, the House of Chaos. It was mega. Absolute insanity. The crowd couldn't have been bigger. I am here to say that of the many years that I've been going to Maple Grove, let's call it, back to 2010, this was the biggest crowd that I have ever experienced. They're always huge. This was like the third consecutive year of Saturday sellouts. And, I don't know why they didn't call Sunday a sellout either, because there was no room to walk, no room to move. It was just packed. Probably, I'm just making this up now. Probably had to do something to do with the capacity. It was so crowded. There were so many drag racing fans. There's never been a race at Maple Grove that had a bigger crowd than that I have seen. It was the largest crowd that I've ever seen at Maple Grove, me personally. Now, the track did not say that was the largest crowd in the history of Maple Grove Raceway. I don't know if they keep those numbers. But for me, biggest crowd ever, baby. Now, we got the winners on the show. We got Hector Arana Jr. seconds away. We're going to hear from Hector Jr. back in the winner's circle, Hector Jr. We're also going to hear from Antron Brown. Alan Reinhart going to join us seconds from now. Really quickly, and I'll go more in depth a little bit later, I want to tell you about the people who have made it possible for me to chase drag racers around all day long, like Foggit, the engine spray that protects the cylinder hone, Foggit, invented by a drag racer. And a lot of the racers that I see are spraying their engine after they've run to protect that cylinder finish. I know it's very, very important. You can get it at Summit. You can get it at Foggit.com. You can get it at Amazon.com. Foggit.com. That is Gary Stinnett's company, and we really appreciate the folks at Foggit. Bernie's Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com. Happy birthday, Josh Hart. Today is Josh Hart's birthday. Over 100,000 square feet in Ocala, Florida. They've got that great fan fest before the Gator Nationals. But really, if you're looking to buy, sell a muscle, an exotic car, if you're looking for a perfect frame-off restoration, Bernie's does it all. CWT Industries, the balance machines that so many high-performance racing engines are balanced on. This is Randy Neal's company. They're digital, they're touchscreen, they're easy to use. CWTindustries.com. Let me know if you want a personalized introduction. Let's get your machine shop fitted up with the best of the best. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters, Paul Lee's company, located in DeLand, Florida. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters, and so many of the winning cars out there. Pro Mod, Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, super categories, FTIperformance.com. And of course, you heard a little bit about Total Seal and Jesse Converters. DPF XFit will tell you more about our other sponsors a little bit later on in the show, but let's bring him on. He just got the job done. He won race 1 of the Countdown. He's only 60 points out of the lead. Hector Arana Jr. What's up, Hector? How are you?
Hey, Joe. How are you? Thanks for having me on WFO. And to all the fans out there listening to us right now, thanks for joining.
Yes, and thanks for sharing the show on your social media and reposting on X. That's always great for us. And everybody out there who wants the show to get bigger and better than ever, how about a repost? And we appreciate it. All right. How about the Countdown? You are now just 60 points behind Gage Herrera. Just like that, a win at Maple Grove, a track that you seem to like very much.
Yeah, you know what? We've had some great success there at Reading, Pennsylvania. And, I was listening to you earlier, and Joe, I have to agree, the stands were packed. And for those of you race fans that came out, I mean, it was an awesome time. I went through the most hero cars that I have all year. It was the best turnout, the most fan engagement. And like you said, I looked up and both sides of the stands were packed. And those weren't just little colored seats in the stands; those were packed NHRA seats.
Yeah. Well, and there's always this debate, right? Like there's these people, and I probably shouldn't even mention them, but they're the negative Nancy's out there. Sorry, anybody named Nancy, but they're the negative Nancy's who are like, they want to see the glass is half empty and drag racing. Listen, this event was as big and successful as any event can possibly be. They'd have to build more seats. I don't know what they would do to bring in more people at this event. It was that great. No rain, perfect weather, perfect from start to finish. And you got the win. Let's watch the final round together. How about it? NHRA on Fox. Here's Brian Loans, Tony Pedregon calling a final that made the TV and was probably seen by over 1 million people. Let's watch it. Here we
Norwalk,
go.
Ohio. It is his 36th career final round. Gadsden is attempting to win his first ever national event. An 11 reaction time for Richard Gadsden gives him a little breathing room on the starting line, but look at Arana's motorcycle, which has simply flown this weekend. 683.9 at 198 miles an hour. Arana gets it done. 687.4 for Gadsden. Just didn't have enough horse.
And the celebrations are on up here at the top end for Hector Arana Jr. There is winning, and there's winning at the home track, but a big leap in performance. Where did that come from?
You know, it's been there all year, and, you know, we were trying some different things to try to figure out the starting line. So we knew it's time to get serious. It's countdown. We knew what to do come Indy. Unfortunately, I was a little quick in Indy, but we fixed that for this weekend, and we had a really great job. But I can't thank my dad enough for giving me such an awesome bike to ride. It's such a blast. And Team Getrix, thank you everybody for sponsoring us and letting us come back out here and race. Scott and Steve Bryson, Pat Galvin, just the whole team. And Wright Trailers, thanks for also jumping on board. Just everybody. I love you guys and I love my family. Woo, we did it again, Sophia.
There you go, Hector Jr. How about that? Like, okay, let's start with the emotion, Hector. A couple of times this weekend, you know, the voice was cracking a little bit. Take us deeper into that. Your dad was not at the race, and I think the reality of that was hitting you.
Yeah, you know what? This is, and the thing with NHRA, it's a family sport. And, you know, my dad's okay. I know I had people asking me questions because I got emotional. And it wasn't, I don't even know why. It's just all of a sudden, it's like, you know, switch flips and you feel emotional. But it's something that we do together. You know, I go drag racing with my dad and, you know, we compete and we tackle the field together. But, you know, we made the call that we thought was best, and I think it was a good call. We had great success this weekend, but my dad's at the shop and he's working hard so we can continue to find horsepower and so we can make sure that we do have a good inventory of fast engines. Unfortunately, last year we started off the countdown season strong, and in mid-season we had an engine failure and we were a little behind because our backup engine wasn't as fast as our normal race engine. So the goal is to have 3 engines that are, you know, all identical and within a couple of VT of each other. So that's what we're doing. We're working hard to make sure that we are, you know, have everything that we possibly can to be successful for the countdown.
I think the last time you were on, you illustrated, or you spoke about the NHRA needed to do some things to level the playing field to be helpful, because there's the Gen 1 V-twin, there's the Gen 2 V-twin, there's the 4-valve Vance and Hines, there's the 4-valve Monster, there's all these different combinations that make Pro Stock Motorcycle what it is, and you just wanted them to be more aggressive. They made some changes, and here you beat both of the Revzilla machines. Like, Gage went red, but you outran him, and you had a 28 reaction time, so he would have had to have been, you know, like 10 or better to beat you. Are things where you think they need to be for this countdown now?
I'm going to say we did good on Sunday, and Vance and Hines missed it. If you look, they weren't having their typical Sunday success where they were getting a hold of the track. You know, I don't know if that's something we're going to see in the norm. I hope so. But we did a really good job, and we were able to, you know, tune to the conditions. Sunday, the weather was really good, but the track seemed to be a little trickier, and we were able to compensate. But as you could see, Gage was still able to throw out a number that was, you know, well ahead of the field with that 674. So like that, he was 600s ahead of us. I think we're pretty close to the Gen 2s, but we had to make really, really good runs, and we did that. And everybody's always trying to do their best to make really good runs, but it is closer, it's better, and it is given us the opportunity to be able to contend a little bit more. So I'm happy with that. But it is tough. I mean, they're different. Engine applications. You got a 4-cylinder Suzuki motor, and you got a V-twin, and you're trying to manage it with weight, and then you got vehicles that they're not that heavy, so now you start playing with the weight. It makes things a little funny versus like a big car. So it's a learning curve, and the thing is when they first came out with the 4-valve Suzuki head, everybody was kind of right there, and it was equal, but that was the beginning of the development stage. So as they continue to develop with that 4-valve head, they're going to continue to get faster and faster, just like when they first came out with the Gen 1 S&SV twin. It wasn't as fast as what it is now, and over the times you develop it, and you improve on it, and you get better and better. And as we speak right now, I think that that 4-valve Vance & Hines Suzuki motor has the performance advantage. It's a really good platform, and for us to change everything and to go to that, it's unrealistic for us. We don't have any knowledge anymore in the Suzuki world. Our development's all in the V-twin, so some would say it was easy. Like Matt Smith said, "Oh, I can get on one of those and make it fast," and he did. He did make it fast. He ran some 200-mile-an-hour speeds with that. But he wasn't as successful as he was on a V-twin, and he spent a couple of years on that, working on it. So it's not a 1, 2, 3 thing. Vance and Hines, even though they were racing, the Harleys, they've never got out of the Suzuki development game. They've always been developing and making and building Suzuki race engines the whole time. So for them, it was definitely an easier transition. It was just they were running it themselves instead of the customers.
Got it. Well, I people like this gentleman here, like, what do you think about all the drama, right, Andrew? Like, what do you think about all the drama in Pro Stock Motorcycle? And also, is Adam ever going to return? You can answer that in a second, but it's been a story that we've been following. The NHRA has been working on it, but some people might want to know why. Regular people that run Pro Stock Motorcycle, and I don't want to say are like already struggling just to get to the track, but can't just dump all the parts that they've acquired over the last 5 or 10 years to buy something brand new and then start on that. Like, that's not how it works. Like, at least in Pro Stock, the rules have been kind of stable for the past few years. Same with Top Fuel. Like, this is something new, and there's always going to be a challenge at the beginning of something new. Is that fair to say that way?
Yes, and even going from Gen 1 to Gen 2, right? Everybody hears, oh, it's a V-twin. They see it as the same bodywork. But the engine's a completely different platform. It's a different set of cases, different crank. You can modify your Gen 1 heads, but then at that point, you can only use it on the Gen 2, and you can never put it back on your Gen 1 platform. So it's not an easy changeover. It's a totally different bottom end, and there's R&D even to go along with that. So for us, we don't even have anything that could turn over. So it's a similar program as far as our experience and knowledge of that engine platform, but it's everything is all new, which is part of the reason why we are still with the Gen 1, because it would take a big effort and a money effort to switch over to that. So we've continued to stay with our Gen 1 and develop it. And I would say that we've been really successful considering, the numbers that we were able to put out of our Gen 1.
I would say so too. You just won the race, and you beat both Vance and Hines machines in the semis and the final round at Maple Grove. All right, let's talk countdown. You're 60 points out of the lead. That is a great benefit. 5 races to go, headed to Charlotte. Can you maintain this level of performance? And what is your outlook for Charlotte?
My outlook is great, and if you look back at history, and history repeats itself, When we get hot, we keep going. And if you see, we've had several back-to-back wins and even 3 in a row. So, more than once. So it's something that, we usually turn on and get hot. And that's what I'm looking forward to here and what I'm hoping for. But we have a good bike. In the beginning of the season, yes, we wanted to win races, but we were also, strategically having to break in tires and get things ready. And that's been a big a feat for us in the whole motorcycle class, is kind of finding that magical tire and getting it worn in so you have something consistent. So that's kind of what we were doing, is saving everything for the countdown so we can be as consistent and successful as possible.
You guys, do you consider yourself an underdog out there? Meaning, Matt Smith has made a big deal about, I hate to say it's the hobby racer thing, right? But that comes back. This is his full-time job. And you're at work right now. Yes. And your dad works. And, I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean it in it's a fact of life way. Vance and Hines, full-time job. That's what they're doing. And they make their money and they promote their business by going out and winning races and selling exhaust systems, et cetera, and so on. So do you consider yourself an underdog against these guys? And, underdogs, America loves them.
Joe, definitely I do. We are the underdog. When you hear about them talking about who's in the battle and do you hear my name much? I know I don't. I wish I heard my name more, but when you hear the stories, it's always about Matt Smith or the Smith camp versus the Vance and Hines team. So it's something that we are the underdog, and if we had the opportunity to race full time, I do believe 100% that things would be even more different, and we'd really be putting on a threat to them.
Very interesting. All right. So you mentioned Indy in that interview with Amanda about, pulling the trigger just a couple of thou early. And if there is a Achilles heel for Hector, that might be it. Those are the kind of things that you got to avoid in the countdown. As a driver, rider, you got a fast bike, you can do it. Let us behind the visor a little bit. How do you walk that line where you can have a great light but not step over the line?
I had to say that is the hardest thing with Pro Stock Motorcycle. They are the quickest and fastest reacting vehicle. They're so fast. And how do you slow yourself down, a human, and still get a good light? The goal is to be able to react as fast as you can every time. And if you're a little quick, you slow down the vehicle and you still react as humanly possible, and in order to be consistent. And for me, I just kind of dug deep and I changed some things in my routine to just try to be more consistent, and I think it paid off this weekend.
Well, it definitely paid off. Hector, we're going to let you go. Now you got some things over there at work. What do you do forever? Well, first of all, is Adam coming back ever? That was this gentleman's question. He wants to see Adam back. Whatever he's going to come back, he's too big for a Pro Stock motorcycle. I'll say that. Guys, Jack.
Listen, I would love nothing more for Adam to come back, but if he's coming back, he's going to have to hop onto one of those Nitro Harleys and one of those Top Fuel motorcycles, because he's 6'1", 225 pounds. So either that or we keep throwing some weight on the Suzuki. Maybe he can make weight still.
There you go. Great job. Now, what do you do during the week for everybody that doesn't know?
Yes, of course. So I'm an operations manager for L3 Harris, and we're, I believe, number 5 defense contractor in the world. So I'm supporting the defense for our country and manufacturing parts for our defense country.
Yeah, exactly. Parts.
I can't go into too much detail, but we are a manufacturing facility, and I'm the operations manager handling the day-to-day operation.
Tremendous. Way to go. I love that. Your brother is serving and you're in the loop as well. We appreciate that greatly. Hector, all right, we'll see you in a few, days right now in Charlotte, Carolina Nationals. We're going to go again, and you're making it a show, so we'll see how it goes. Thank you for spending time with us on WFO.
Yes, Joe. Thanks for having me. Take care.
There goes Hector Arana Jr. with us here on WFO Radio. and super cool, but back to work, right? Like right back to work. He's got like a conference call at 1:30, and Antron is talking to SEMA at 1:00. Like everybody is working and busy and getting it done. And we appreciate Hector Jr. Really mixing up the point standings. Honestly, if you look at Hector Jr., he got through Gianna and got through Angie, beat a couple of ladies rounds 1 and 2, the Matt Smith bikes, and then gets through both Revzilla machines in the semis and the final round. Like, who's done that? Not too many people. But if you look at the point standings now, Gage has 17-point lead over Matt, 19 over Richard, 60 over Hector. Hector jumped up there and gained a lot of points. So it's going to be wild. If Hector can go out there and have another great race and then even it up, and then it's going to be 4 races to glory. That's what the countdown is all about. I know I yelled at everybody last week's show, got very aggressive at the end of the show with the people who don't like the playoff system. I was thinking, while I was walking around the pits, I was thinking, man, was I too harsh on those people who just want to repeat the story every year, the same posts over and over again, stale garbage? Was I too harsh on them about their opinion? And then I thought, nope. Joining us now, he's the voice of the NHRA. He's just finished up some studio work. Alan Reinhart. Alan, what's up, Alan? How are you?
Hey, Joe. I'm very sorry to be late, but yeah, we were doing some stuff for the Kentucky Drag Boat Association while I'm in Indianapolis today, and we should have been done in plenty of time, but had a couple little glitches. You know how it goes. Sometimes you just got to work your way through this stuff. But I apologize for my tardiness. I guess you can dock my pay if you want. Yeah,
exactly. Not a problem. What was great is that, I knew you were going to be at some point, and I talked to Hector. He's like, I got to call it to 1:30. And then I talked to Antron. He's like, I got to call at 1. And I'm like, what should I do? And I the genius slowly sunk through the skull. And I went, oh, I know what to do. It's like, can you do 1? Can you do 1:30? And the rest is history. So if Antron shows up at 1:30, it's going to be, I'm a genius. That's why kids, it doesn't pay to plan so much, because sometimes it's just going to go out the window. All right, Alan, this race at Maple Grove, I said it was the largest single crowd that I've ever seen at the Grove. What about you? Am I crazy?
Well, that's 2 different questions, Joe. It certainly was solid. One, the fans in that part of the world, very hardcore. They show up if it's raining and our chances of racing are very small. The fans still come out. When we get great weather, more fans are going to come out, because Kenny Koretsky and Kyle and their entire team have sunken so much time, effort, and money to making the fan experience better. I think we're getting a lot of fans coming out that maybe, we've lost over the years, to come back out and kind of see the new Maple Grove, for lack of a better term. And yeah, it was solid. The weather was good. The racing was good. The turnout was spectacular. I guarantee you this, every other track operator on the tour would have been happy to have the number of people walk through their gates that the Koretskys had this past weekend.
The largest track walk, according to Jason Logan, in the history of track walks. Now, just
that might have,
gotta be bummed, right? Like, your track got knocked off the top, according to Jason. I was like, Jason, are you sure? He's like, yeah, the clicker.
I think Jason was fudging that a little bit, but it was solid. And again, the fans have always loved that facility. When 4 years ago or 5 years ago, there was a possibility that they might not be able to come, but they might not still have the facility. I think the fact that they have it now is making them want to come out and support it. And, for those who don't know, and obviously everybody that's, watching this is kind of drag race centric, but Kyle was very vocal about the fact that we do a lot of things out here. He felt like with the facility they have, the previous management group really wasn't utilizing it. So whether it's car shows, whether it's swap meets, whether it's concerts, they've got a lot of stuff going on out at Maple Grove, and they really are making it a very viable member of the community again.
Yeah, really great stuff. And more plans to come. It's very difficult to turn a profit with a drag strip all by itself. But if you turn it into a multi-purpose venue where you swap meets and food trucks and concerts and, they're doing everything out there. They're trying everything. And Kyle is doing a great job, and the whole Koretsky family doing a great job. Got to keep that place. And I told him, you got to dome it, man. You got to dome it. Got to cover this whole place. And, we laughed. But a little covering, though, it's over a couple of seats. That was my recommendation, because everything is like old school bleachers and it's great. But maybe there could be some premium seats available with a covering because it was hot. That's the one downside. It was a little hot. All right, let's talk funny car. We got Antron.
You and Mark Rabilis, 85 degrees is not hot.
It's hot. It's like, you're out there in the sun baking. So Austin Prock, a dominant race again. Indy dominated once again from the number one qualifier. We talked about Pro Stock being the number one qualifier is not the thing. But funny car definitely is. And just try to put to words what we're seeing Jimmy Prock, Austin Prock, Thomas Prock do with this funny car, because they're going right through the competition. They took down Tasca in the semis, took down Beckforce in the final, and really outclassed the field pretty much every time down the racetrack.
Well, the amazing thing with what they're doing is they almost never seem to have a throwaway run. Whatever the conditions are, they are running right up at the front. On a very warm Sunday, not hot, very warm Sunday race day afternoon, how many pedal fests did we see? How many tire smokers did we see? How many times did the Cornwell Chevy go right straight down the lane and do exactly what they wanted to do? For whatever Jimmy and Thomas and the guys over there have figured out, there's a lot of other crew chiefs out there, I guarantee you, that wish they knew what that secret recipe is.
Yeah, exactly. People were struggling with the track, and it's just going right down the racetrack, Amazing. And still a long way to go, but I don't know. I think at this point, the Play NHRA odds makers have already told us, like, the favorite. Isn't it great to have the odds makers to take the pressure off our back? Like it used to be, if you said Austin Prock was the favorite, other drivers would be annoyed. Like, how do you make them the favorite? It's so early in the season. And now we don't have to take the responsibility. We can blame the odds makers. It's not us. It's the odds makers. They're using an algorithm. It's nothing to do with us. The favorite is Austin Prock.
Well, if you look at the last two races and you don't believe Austin Prock is the favorite, you're going to have to explain to me why. And you're going to have to explain to me who you think is. Because there are some other cars out there that are running well. Bob Tasca's car is running well, but Bob Tasca's car hasn't made 7-8 runs in a row. Ron Cap's car is running well, but they just don't have quite the same consistency on race day that the Procks do right now. And you look at Matt Hagan's car. Matt Hagan's car is running well, but not 4 runs in a row on Sunday when we get conditions like that. Now, having said that, when we get to Charlotte, we get to St. Louis, we get to Dallas, if it cools down a little bit, that might play into the hands of those other guys. But Indy was warm, not hot, warm. Reading was warm, and Austin Prock really looked like he had the best car. If it's warm in St. Louis, if it's warm in Dallas, if it's warm, then somebody's going to have to prove to me that they can run those numbers on a consistent basis like they do with the Cornwell machine.
And it's the way I'm looking at it, because Tasca, if we're going to rank them, it's pretty obvious. The odds makers, once again, Tasca's got the best car and the best chance he's ever had to win a championship. Like, that's a great way to say it. They had a chance, right? Like, they got the opportunity. They had Prock on the other side of the racetrack. All you got to do, beat him, load him up, go on to win the event. Everybody's talking differently. Didn't happen. And that's what I love about our sport, is because you will get your shots. You'll get your licks in, and you'll get your opportunities. So they had one. They will get more. There will be that run. I doubt that's the last time we're going to see Tasca and Austin on the track together before this countdown is over. We'll see it again.
Oh, definitely. And, Bob was pretty vocal all weekend about the fact that they had been dropping cylinders up at the far end of the racetrack. We're used to, if you want to talk to odds makers that play NHRA, what are the odds of Bob Tasca setting top speed? I'm pretty close to even money these days, the way that car's running. But it wasn't in Reading. And whether that was, an electrical thing, a fuel thing, something else thing, I don't know, but it was frustrating Bob a little bit, no doubt. And I'm sure that's what his guys, that's what Aaron Brooks and Todd are working on this weekend, is we need to pinpoint that, and we need to eliminate that before we get to Charlotte.
Yeah, which is hours away. Austin Prock, the leader over Bob Tasca by 86, by 99 over Beckforce. John Forrest, 99 back. J.R. Todd and Matt Hagan, 4th and 5th, 127 and 137 back. Ron Capps, 142 back. Like, we're only one race in, so I'm not going to do the do or done line just yet. Mike Dunn's lasting legacy in the sport of NHRA drag racing, at very least on WFO, in addition to his great career, Mike. I know Mike knows I'm joking, but you got 3 teams within 100 points. You got Austin just on rails, and this thing could get away. It could get away real quickly if they have another great performance in Carolina.
It could. And, somebody's going to have to stop him. And I don't know who that somebody is. At this point, it doesn't look like they're going to make a mistake. So somebody is going to have to jump up and stop them. And, whoever somebody wants to sign in, believe me, I'm sure that if somebody can get him out early, I'm sure that, there'll be a few guys that will want to send you a Christmas card.
Yeah, a Christmas card and a gift. A wonderful gift would be nice. Alan dropped off quicker than I've seen anyone drop off in the history of the world. Maddie is out there. What's up, Maddie? Hi, Joe and Alan. Today is my birthday. Happy birthday, Maddie. That is tremendous. Happy birthday to you. Blake saying hello to Alan. Although Alan is gone, but, the sentiment is still the same. Fast Eddie, the turnout for the track walk was amazing. Way to go. And Mark, the insight from the two of you is always informative and entertaining. Sitting at zMAX waiting for qualifying. You're there already, Mark. You're already there at your home track, ready. You're waiting in line. You're stacked up and ready to go. Go over to Garofolo's and see Fast Eddie and see those guys. Paul Boone is out there. We lost Alan Reinhart so quick. It was insane. Like, they turned off his internet. Like, all right, we've heard enough of you one way or another. Speaking of that, good opportunity while we wait for Alan to reconnect or figure out that he's not going to reconnect. Last night, our Patreon VIP listeners had an amazing experience, and you are all welcome to check it out on our audio-only Ignition show. Patreon, WFO Universe, these people pay a monthly. If you sign up for a year, I'll send you a t-shirt along with all the stickers and everything else I can muster, because I always want to make sure everybody gets great benefit. But what it is, it's a community. It's a community, and part of the community are Dave and Sue Morris. And Dave and Sue both won Rockingham a week ago. She won Super Street. He won Super Gas. Well, Dave Morris goes on and wins Super Gas at Maple Grove. And the entire WFO universe, I mean, we had a big meetup out there. It was great. The entire WFO universe got to be in the winner's circle with Dave and Sue Morris. It was great. Like, how often do you get to be in a winner's circle with somebody? All right, Reinhart is back. Boy, man, that internet cut off quickly, like rapid fire Gonski.
Well, actually, my phone said it was overheating. I had it. I'm sitting literally outside the studio because as soon as we finished up, I ran out in the car and hooked up. But the car was sitting in the sun and it was hot, and I had my phone sitting up on the dash in the sun, and it said the phone overheated. So now I am holding it right in front of the AC vents for the duration of this, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep it cool.
Okay, assuming it doesn't, if you were to get cut off again, thank you, Alan. You've done your service. It is great. I'm just going to let you go. Obviously, Aaron Stanfield, fire. Aaron Stanfield is red hot. We just spoke with Hector, so we covered Pro Stock Motorcycle, and I'm sure you're going to want to talk Top Fuel as well. So I'm just going to let you go for as long as your phone lasts. Take it.
All right. Well, I think I'm good. Like I said, I'm holding it right in front of the cold air now. Top Fuel is wide open. I think, Doug Coletta stumbling 2 races in a row, and yes, he qualified much better in Reading, but coming out and taking the tire off in the first round was a stunner. I just, at dumb luck, Brian Houston and I were on the same flight back, and I chit-chatted with him a little bit about the final round, and he said there was too much time. He said they had a game plan, and they were tuning off of Jimmy Prock. He said, we had a game plan about what Austin's car does. If it does this, we're going to do this. If it does this, we're going to do this. If it does this, we're going to do this. And he went out there and ran, I believe, 89 in the final round. And Houston said, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what's going to win me this race. And they made the adjustments. And then they had a little bit of a TV timeout. I mean, it wasn't much, but it was whatever it was, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. You were there. And that, he said, gave him time to overthink it and go, yeah, maybe and he made another minor adjustment, and he believes that was a race they could have won. So I think it's wide open. I think that Antron had a good car. I don't think anybody really had a great car. Langdon's car was certainly good. There were a number of cars that made good runs, but there isn't anybody right now, at least to my eyes, in Top Fuel that is running like the Prock boys are in funny cars. So that, I think, is wide open. That one's going to be a really, really fun one to watch as we continue on down the stretch. Justin Ashley, again, great car. He apparently needs to stay away from Sean Langdon because Langdon, for whatever reason, seems to be his kryptonite. But it's Top Fuel, I still think is a wide open affair. Come on, you can talk. I'm not going away. I got it. My hand's cold, so okay. Now I know the phone's not going to overheat because my hand's cold.
Well, if it were to, I would understand. And Antron is supposed to be joining us at any moment. You mentioned Justin. Justin's 39 on the tree against Sean, and they go up in smoke. You're absolutely right. Like the first few times they raced, it's kind of like a Steve Torrence, Antron Brown situation where they were just these wild swings of dominance back and forth. But I don't care. I'm looking at the points. It's 3 drivers within 6 points, guys. Justin, Antron 1 point back, Sean 6 points back, Doug 33 points back, like a massive 33 points behind. Oh, what are you going to do, Doug? Oh my gosh. Steve Torrance 58 points back. Clay 79 points back. Are you kidding me? Smoke 94 points back. Tony Schumacher 96 points back. Like everybody's in the middle of this championship fight. They just got to do well. Like if Tony Schumacher wins in Charlotte, he's right in the middle of it.
Agreed. But you also look at, just the depth over there. There, in funny car right now, it really looks like Prock and then everybody else. And as I said, there isn't that in the Top Fuel category. So, I'm not saying, and I guarantee you, Jimmy would tell you he's not doing this, that he's not coming up first round or second round and playing lightly because he's racing the racetrack. He's racing for lane choice. He's pushing. But you look at the number of real legitimate threats to the Prock car. And then you look at the number of real legitimate threats to everybody in Top Fuel. I just think that the Top Fuel field is very closely bunched in there. Whereas if you took Prock out, then the funny car field is very closely bunched as well. But I really do believe that Prock has right now a clear advantage over the rest of the field. And in Top Fuel, you sit there. How difficult is it for you to pick out a marquee matchup in Top Fuel every week? Because there are a lot of really good cars out there. And oh, by the way, we're adding another one this week or next week. So, it's certainly not going to get any easier.
Super excited about Julie Natus, now part of Scrappers Racing, going to be out there in St. Louis. And right, she's on Facebook like, I know something you don't know. And now we all know Rob Flynn is going to be our Nitro School co-professor in Charlotte. We'll ask him about that. It's going to be very exciting. No, I'm super excited about all of it. But you know what else I'm super excited about, Alan? That your phone has cooled down, and we got Antron Brown, our Top Fuel winner. He's joining us now. He said he would be here. He's here. What's up, AB? Welcome back.
Joe, what's going on? What's going on with you and AR? Cheers, AR.
Cheers.
I got a tea.
I have a water. I got a water. What do you like? We're all, yeah. Yes. So I'm the least healthy. He's got that monster. Okay. All right, Antron, we were just talking a little bit about the points. You're 1 point back. It doesn't get much closer than this. You guys rose to the occasion. Brian was great on the starting line all weekend long. There we go. And right in the middle of a championship fight. Give us a little debrief.
Man, I tell you what, it started off a little rough there, man. Our main thing was we just wanted to be in the show because there was so many cars and so many good cars there. So the first lap, we thought the track was pretty decent. It wasn't that good at first. And then the night session threw us all for a curve bar because then we're just trying to tiptoe on it. And the track ended up being like really, 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 really good where you could run like a 60 on it. And it caught everybody by surprise where you didn't even see a 60 because the track was so good it ate up the tune-up. And we went out there and we didn't run like we wanted to run. And we find ourselves in the number 12 position after Q2. And then on Saturday, like all of our guys just put their heads down. They went to work and they do what they do, man. And we came out, we ran low ET of Q3 in one of the hotter sessions of the weekend. And then we came out and we went at 75 in Q4. We were the second quickest car. Justin got us by a couple thou on getting those gravy points on us. And that little deal right there by him getting that 1 point higher than us. If we would have got that point, we have the points lead right now. See how close the show is? So,
yeah.
With that being said, is that that really helped us out a lot, where we moved us up in the number 7 position and really set up our day to be where we need to be. And you always got to race the right people at the right time, and it lined us up to put us in that position to do what we did.
Antron, before you came on, we were talking a little bit about funny car stuff, and I firmly believe, looking at the funny car field right now, there's Austin Prock, and then there's everybody else. But looking at the top fuel field, there's about 7 or 8 cars that wouldn't surprise me a bit to see them in the winner's circle at Charlotte. You guys just look like the parity in your class is unparalleled right now.
Alan, you are exactly right. Like if I was a betting man, I wouldn't know which way to go. If somebody's to play NHRA, they really got lucky. You know what I mean? Because I can't tell you going into the next race, if I said I had $1 million and I had to put it on somebody just making it to the final in top fuel, I wouldn't bet my $1 million.
You wouldn't bet on you?
No, brother, I wouldn't bet on anybody. That's how tight it is. It's like I have confidence in what we do. But the thing about it is, if you make one little slip up, it's so tight that you're out. You know what I mean? And like Austin Prock, like I probably put $500,000 on Austin Prock. I still keep $500 in my pocket, but I put $500,000 in my pocket on Austin Prock and funny car. But top fuel, man, you don't know who's going to win on any given Sunday. You know
probably
what I mean?
Not the best marketing for Play NHRA. Just saying, guys. You might win. You might win.
Hey, betting on NHRA top fuel is like playing the lottery, 1 in a million.
It really is. No, it really is. And, you know, Doug, and just top to bottom, when Sean Reed, who handled it like a champ, by the way, I talked to Sean DNQs. He was like, I've had a great year. The car is fast. We're going to get him. But that's how tough it is. And we got more cars coming. I don't know what we're going to do with them.
And that's the harsh reality of it is, if you slip up one time, you're out. Like, and that's the hard part about having one night run and not having an equalizer run. That's one thing that I think in our sport that could be better, is that we should qualify the same times both days, and we should probably qualify the same times that we race. Will be the legitimate deal. You get what I mean? And that way everybody sees the track for what you're racing on, and then you can actually gauge off of that, and you actually have a chance to improve your qualifying. At least have 2 shots at it. You don't need all 4, but you need at least 2 shots to say, I got a fair shake to be in the top half of the field. Because sometimes when you miss that Friday night run, that's all you got. And it could set it up. It makes it really interesting on race day, but it's not what the team's got. I think you should have a little bit more equalization to try to hit that stride and go after it like that. This is my personal opinion, of course.
I think you should just tell Brian that if we don't qualify on the top 3 on Friday night, you're fired, and leave it at that.
And you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be honest with you. It really doesn't make a difference the way we qualify. What really makes a difference to me is how we run in the conditions when we need to run in them. And that's one thing that we've been very fortunate with on our team, is that when we race during the day, we could get down a track that has sun on it. But Reading was tricky for all of us, because we thought they were going down a track on Q2 and E2 and E3, but we made it farther than our competitor did, because our car, like, we're used to running those type of conditions, and we went off of our Sonoma race where we ran well in Sonoma. We ran well in the middle of the day when the sun was out and everything else. And then when we got there, when we got to the E2, E3, I was like, all right, man, like I hear Brian and Mark and Brad and all the guys talking. They're like, all right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And it's going to be just like Sonoma. I'm like, all right, that gives you a confidence as a driver, because you know how you ran when you were there. And then when we went down the track, I was like, oh, we're going down the track. And it was going good. And all of a sudden I felt it go, roop, roop, roop. I'm like, oh, and I got in and out of it. And in one lap, I just kept my foot in it. You just got to know. And that's where the experience kicks in at a little bit, where it depends on where you're at the track. on what you do. And I know that one run we went at 388, it started spinning the tires right where it came together at, like around 600 feet. And I saw the finish line. I said, well, if I pedal it, I could risk blowing it up and backfiring and popping the chutes out. But if I stay in it and I can get as far as I can get down the racetrack, then let off, that's a better chance of winning. And that's what I did. That's how I ran a 388. And the next lap, it spun earlier when I got out of it, but I rolled back in and got it to hook up. And then Brian shut me off when he saw that the who we were racing there in the semi Dan Mercedes smoked the tires at the hit and knew that we're at the finish line. So he shut me off a little bit earlier. So we didn't blow it up or scatter things around. And that's what teamwork's all about. And then we got to the final. We had enough licks at it when we raced Langdon where we go, all right, well, we almost made it there. We just need to ease it up here. You hear Brian, I'm going to ease it up here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this out of play and that out of play. And then it should go right on down through there. And we should run like a 78 or 77. And our car went at 79 because it actually it was running good. It was too easy in the middle. And it's to get the job done.
All right, a lot of people in the chat section bringing up the first, I believe, the first ever AB Motorsports double. You and Angelle getting the first win, top alcohol dragster at the same track that she got her first win ever in Pro Stock Motorcycle. What are the odds of that? That's crazy. Serendipity, however you want to say it. And Antron appears to be frozen, but now he's back. Just talk a little bit about that, Antron, because, you can't write it up better. The U.S. Nationals final round slipped away, problem, and you're able to come right back and get it.
Man, I was super excited. Like, we were already in the final, and then we went and watched. I went up there and I watched Angelle race her final round. And thank you to Sean Reed, because Sean Reed stepped in my car, our other AB Accelerate partner there. He actually warmed my car up for the final. I said, if that happens, Sean, I need you to warm my car up all the time between every run. But the cool part was when I was up there and we saw them win, and she won. You got to remember, she won by 5, 10, 1,000. She didn't even win by 1,000. She won by less than 1,000, but she still got the job done. It was a half a thou. And she did really, really, really good all weekend long. She did great in Indy, and the MBR boys, I'm so proud of those guys. I remember when we came to them, they always had a good program. They just needed to work and just give them some extra tools to get better and to be more consistent, to run with the McPhillips, the Myers, the Samsels, and all those people out there, and like the Jackie Fricks and all those people out there that run well all the time. And now they're there. They can run with them. You know what I mean? And they're constantly getting better and better. And the car's going down the track every lap. And that's what's making them become a danger. And Angelle's getting comfortable in the car, and she's getting into that championship form, like when she rode that motorcycle back in the day. And she's comfortable, she's happy, and she's really taking a liking to it. And when you mix that combination of all that together, they're just a really, really good team. They're like a plug and play team now, and they're just going to constantly get better. I'm just happy to be a part of that and be able to put those puzzle pieces together. And we're real fortunate to be with all those people.
Alan's gone. On that double up though, like, has that hit you? That's historic. That's a big deal. Like, think of all the double ups you were a part of at DSR. Think of how big a deal, like all of those doubles, and they made a big deal, and they treated, because it's random, the randomness of winning any one race, let alone team cars winning on the same day. You've put so much effort into it.
Oh, absolutely. And, it's one of those deals where you dream about it and you want it to happen and you put the work in it for it to happen, but you're just like, when is it going to happen? And you work so hard to make it happen. And for me, it's just funny where I go, man, this could be the best case scenario. Well, now she didn't win her final. We got to go win ours. You know what I mean? And we're racing a monster. We're racing Sean Langdon, Brian Houston, Coletta Racing, like, you know what I mean? And Alan Johnson, protege. I mean, you're racing some of the best people that's ever been in the sport. And we're in this final, and they had lane choice. Langdon's really good on the tree. I mean, he's one of the best in the class. You know what I mean? Like if I had to pick somebody to drive a car, Justin Ashley and Sean Langdon would be one of my first picks in Top Fuel. I'm just telling you, like, it's what it is. That's going to be your picks. You get what I mean? And when you're racing him in the final, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm like, all right, well, I need some vintage AB to show up. I need the vintage, you know what I mean? And he was still in there, brother, and he showed up in that final. And Brian, Mark, Brad, and the Macro Tools Lucas Oil Boys gave me everything I needed to get it to the stripe. And we put that together with being on time, was able to get that win, brother. And it came out. I found my inner self, the championship self that I need to show up at for the rest of these races.
Alan, final question for Antron, now that you're back.
Yeah, sorry about that. That time it said it was internet. My phone's not hot, I promise you. Antron, I'm just wondering, with Julie having now made her announcement that she's coming out in St. Louis, I think you should, AB accelerate. Let's get Angelle out in St. Louis in a Top Fuel car too.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Alan.
You got to back up.
Oh.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh no. We got 3 times.
Oh man, I hit him with that one, didn't I?
You got him, Alan.
We actually have 3 cars that are ready to go. The one I'm racing.
Well, then what's holding you back?
It's like the one I'm racing in the back one. Is the little greenbacks. The greenbacks that has like the Benjamins on it. You know what I mean? If somebody came up with some greenbacks, we could put Angelle in a Top Fuel car tomorrow. It's just we gotta raise the funds and get the right partners, man. That's what it takes at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And we want to sit there. I know that she's capable of doing it now too. So everybody does. I mean, Bryant talks to her all the time and coaches her, and Mark's in there telling her about doing it and what goes on. I'm always giving her my 2 cents and everything, and she listens. And what her, and she programs herself, and then she's down, and that's what's so good about her.
Excellent. All right, AB, thank you very much for making the time. We appreciate you. We're going to go back at it again. 3 in a row right at the start of the playoff. Like, that's the way it ought to be. You're going to get this thing settled. We're going to figure out what's what. You guys are 1 point behind. It's going to be awesome. Thank you for spending time with us here on WFO Radio. Congratulations once again, and we'll see you in Charlotte.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you all so much.
There he goes. Antron Brown with us here on WFO Radio. Alan, his internet started to go a little haywire right at the very end, so we figured we'd let him go. It's internet.
Makes sense, but yeah, well, I think he's got a lot of work to do. He's got to go get that other Top Fuel car put together, because since he said that, somebody's going to call this afternoon and say, so how many greenbacks would it take to make this happen? And, the marketing 101.
I thought to ask the question, how many greenbacks would it take? But then I thought, don't put the guy in a corner here. Let him negotiate with whoever calls him. Sure. But why would you not?
Sure.
I'd like to see Hangstafers. I know Mike out there from Hangstafers. Like, come on, Mike. Like, let's go. Like, I'm not going to put Antron on the spot with a number, but I could definitely pressure Mike, right? Like, come on, let's get Hangstafers on a Top Fuel dragster right on the side. Let's do it.
Well, I'd be all right with that, and I am a supporter. Hangstafers metalworking lubricants are used in my shop at Wild West Engineering for anything that I do that requires a metalworking lubricant. So yeah, I'm doing everything I can.
Exactly. No, the future is definitely bright for Top Fuel right now. There's all this talk of more cars and more people coming, and Julie, that's going to be very exciting. Right in the middle of the countdown. Let's make it harder. Yeah, let's make it harder. Let's roll out another Scrapper's car.
Why not? I mean, Eda joined, right? I mean, she rode 1 race before the countdown, but her mission in life is to get out there and make life miserable for the rest of the countdown contenders. And, she certainly seems to be holding up her end of the bargain so far.
Yeah, she's doing great. She's so like a real pro. She's like a professional athlete. and that car getting better. It's helping Tony Schumacher. Neff told me having the second car is very helpful. And no, I'm just super excited about now and beyond going into 2025 with NHRA, because we're going to keep on trucking. Like, it's going to be great. All right, let's talk Pro Stock, which is another totally wide open category. Totally wide open. You got Erica and you got Aaron in the final round. And Aaron Stanfield, this kid has just been so good. He's 17 in the final. He's 14 in the semi against Dallas. Like, this is where he's wanted to be able to do that. Was part of the marquee matchup, goes on and wins the race. And Aaron Stanfield is now the points leader by 9 over Dallas Glenn.
Well, don't qualify number one. That's the key in Pro Stock. Dallas Glenn qualified number one, and it worked out for him like it's worked out for the last, whatever it's been, 13 or 14 number one qualifiers. So don't qualify number one in Pro Stock. I love the Final Four. When you've got Greg and Erica on one side, which are the two biggest rivals out there for the last decade or so, and then on the other side, you've got Dallas and Aaron, who are the most respectful but most powerful rivals, I believe, right now in Pro Stock. I think that's a great Final Four. And when they match up like that, in Alan's little fantasy world, would you love to have one KB driver against one elite driver in the final? Yeah, I would, from an announcer standpoint. Yep. But it didn't work out that way. Jason Johnson got both of his cars in the final, and believe me, he was a happy dude. I sent him a congratulatory text after it was over with, and couldn't have had a better day. So that one's pretty wide open too. I don't think there's quite as many Pro Stock players as there are Top Fuel players, but there also is certainly not a us against the world. You look at motorcycle, you got Gage and you got everybody else. You look at funny car, you got Prock and you got everybody else. But you look at Pro Stock and you got everybody. Period.
Yeah, like looking at the ladder right now, it's like if we did the sports radio thing and we had like many shows that were like micro analyzing every driver. Like, I look at Aaron and Troy, the marquee matchup first round. Aaron had to be 12, Troy was 23. They did like they both said. Maybe they weren't 00, but they both got up on the wheel. There's a great reaction time. Aaron wins. He would have had to have run Jeg in a matchup second round. That would have been another very intense experience. Jeg goes red to Chris by 1 thou, takes himself out of the game. And, when we get to Pomona, depending on where Jeg is, because he could rattle off a couple of wins in this countdown. Jeg is one of my championship picks. The whole countdown goes down because of a 1 thou red light at Reading. Could that be the story? Yeah, man, that could be the story. Like, Jeg could have lost himself the championship because of 1 thou red in Reading. Now, we don't know what lies ahead. That's the way this deal works.
Yeah, I really believe that you have one mulligan. I do. I don't think that, one mistake or one first-round loss ends, especially here, because you still have 5 races to come back. Now, if you get to Vegas and you're down 3 rounds and you need to make ground, and then you have that mistake, that's different. But, if you bogey the first hole in golf, you're not out of the Masters. At the 17th, if you bogey it, it's a whole lot more dangerous. So if you're moving Jag down to the bottom of your list because he was a 1 thou red player last weekend, I think you're making a grave error, because as good as he is, that's going to be motivation for him going forward.
It's the randomness of it, though. Like, he's 114 out of the lead. His closest and maybe some of his best competitors were able to get that lead. But I look at it for Greg also. Like, Greg, you have how many times, like, let's call it missed opportunities, right? And this works both ways. How many times is Erica going to be 58 in the semis of a playoff race? Like, it's not going to happen a lot. The door is open and he's 52 and he misses the opportunity. Like, that's an open door. You got to walk through it, and they couldn't walk through it. And then Erica goes to the final round. I like to look at it in the context of those opportunities not taken, perhaps, and how that will affect the championships.
Yeah, I agree with that to a point, but Erica said at the top end of the racetrack that she felt like it was a bit of a quick tree, and she said that before she saw the time slip. And then when she saw the time slip, she said, "Oh yeah," she said, "It had to be because it got both of us." She certainly wasn't going up there expecting Greg to be that. She wasn't expecting to be that, but if it was a bit of a quick tree on the random side, then if it caught both of them off guard, that would make sense. But Greg had the better car for most of the event. He was running 100th or 100th and a half better for most of the event. And for whatever reason on that run, the car slowed down a little bit compared to the field. And he was not pleased. I mean, I can tell you, from his expression and demeanor getting out of the race car, that he believed he had the car that could win the race and didn't capitalize. And it wasn't the reaction time, although certainly a better reaction time could have changed the outcome, but it was the fact that he didn't, the car didn't do what he expected it to do.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting as we go into Charlotte. 5 more races. Aaron Stanfield appears to be on a mission, but again, too early to say in pro stock. Let's talk about some of the other, racers. Hartford has gone to the backup car. He's gone back to old reliable, got out of the first round. But Erica was 001 against him, and that's going to be tough to beat. We're seeing the McGahays turn the corner, quick and fast hot rods, pretty much, in the neighborhood of everyone else in the first round. Highlight some other players that you think are worthy.
Well, you heard what Chris said, right? Did you hear that, or could you hear it on?
No, I don't think I heard that. And I'm not hearing you either. You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. In one of the interviews that I did with Chris at the top end of the racetrack, he said, unprompted, he said, "We're so screwed up right now, we're thinking about hiring you." And I thought,
we did hear that.
Pretty screwed up.
We did make fun of it very greatly.
But they have looked like they've found a little bit of performance. And I don't think that it was necessarily all horsepower related. I think that they were missing a little something on the car side of it. But it's just, as tight as pro stock is right now, it's crazy. If you miss the gear call by 2 points, you put a 269 low in instead of a 266, that can be the difference between winning and losing. If you miss the starting line RPM by 100 or 150, that can be the difference between winning and losing, or qualifying 4th or qualifying 10th, and having lane choice in first round and everything else. So it's just so difficult to be perfect all the time with those machines. But there are definitely some spoilers out there, no doubt.
Yeah, like we've been saying, drag racing is stupid, right? Like, what the heck are we doing out here with these cars? You're spending all this money, all this time, all this travel, all this manpower, all this research to go out there and win and lose by a thou. Like, oh yeah, where was the thou? There's like 6 places that the thou could have been gotten. But it's awesome at the same time, and I think everyone is loving it. So Hector wins pro stock motorcycle. We already spoke with Hector a little bit. He broke it all down for us. Aaron in pro stock, Austin in funny car, and top fuel was Antron Brown. Alcohol ranks, Angelle gets her first win. Phil Ez in funny car. What a great weekend for Phil Ez. Don Eckel in comp eliminator. Bill Kennedy in super stock. Bubba Linky. That's a big story that I don't know that we gave it enough attention. He had to leave the event last year, and so while still in eliminations, and
in the semifinals,
and he comes back this year. Why don't you put some meat on the bone for everybody out there? Because I talked to him in the winner's circle, and it was like very thick with emotion that he was able to get back and win the race. Like that's I don't know. We gotta lay it on us.
Yeah, last year he had earned his way into the semifinals, which means you're going to race on Sunday. And then when Sunday came around, he was a no-show. I didn't know it at the time. I found out later his sister had passed unexpectedly, and he left to go be with the family, which is absolutely the right thing to do. But be able to come back a year later and get, not just come back and have a nice representative weekend, but get to the final round, beat Dan Fletcher, which everybody knows how difficult that is. He was pretty emotional at the top end of the racetrack, but he was up there. His dad was up there, some of the rest of the family. And, that's what they were obviously all thinking about, was what had happened the year before. And, the family pulled together then. And I think that this is going to end up being a very nice family memory for them going forward.
Yeah, like drag racing. That's such a drag racing thing, like to be able to close these circuits on life. Like, he had to leave. He missed out. He was running well. He came back a year later and he finished the job. Like, you could write a little mini movie about just that. So congratulations to Russell and Chris T. Pascal in Super Comp. Dude was locked in, like a couple of trip zeros, getting multiple coins. He goes out there and gets it done in Super Comp. Dave Morris and Super Gas. That's a track that he ran high school drags at. Him and Sue, they were on our Ignition show. We talked all about it. He was feeling the nerves late in the going. The wind light kept coming on. He won his home race.
Yeah, and he said, when I talked to him at the end of the racetrack, he said as soon as he let go in the final, he went, uh-oh, because he knew he was late. And, as hot as Mike Andrews has been this year, you don't expect Mike Andrews to go down there and make a mistake. But sometimes it's just your day, and it ended up going that direction. But, winning your home race is special. And, everybody has, their checklist of races that they really want to win. But winning your home race is very special. And he and Sue were very excited down there at the end of the racetrack.
Yeah, they definitely were. And if you want to hear more from those guys, like last night's Ignition was pretty much the Morris Victory Party celebration, everybody weighing in. Brian Volman won in Top Sportsman. Al Kenny in Top Dragster. Spoke with both of those guys. Super stoked. Scott Libisher, he's a machine now, man. Scott Libisher has now raced his way into championship contention in the FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown.
Yeah, that was a fun run for those guys. The Fords were fast. Mark Powick looked like he may have the car to beat, and he just came out on the wrong end of a really good race. Those cars are becoming certainly fan favorites if they weren't already, simply because you can sit in the grandstands and go, that's my car, right? I got one of those. I drive one of those. Even though yours probably doesn't have the same horsepower level, but they're so identifiable. And, winning gives you confidence, and that certainly will help you keep winning.
Simple as that. Johnny Placino, I don't want to say he locked it up, but he made it very, very hard. Yeah, he made it very hard. And it makes sense, by the way. Johnny Placino and his dad have been running for championships in Mountain Motor Pro Stock cars in the PDRA for the last several years. They just took that program. They brought it to the NHRA when NHRA adopted Mountain Motor Pro Stock, and they're keeping up their championship ways. And it's great to see. They're two regular guys who happen to have a really badass hot rod and getting the job done. So we'll see them put some meat on the bone. Factory X was Lenny Loddig. That was just a exhibition, but great stuff. And the final rounds from New England that were postponed, Karen Stalba, Phil Burkhart. Great to see Jay Blake back in the winner's circle with a Wally. They ran real well this weekend, did real well. And Pete Dagnolo as well. Any other final thoughts from Reading as we move forward from the House of Chaos?
No, I just think that, the standard, right? Give us good weather and we will take it from there. And we had good weather, and the Koretsky's continue to make improvements on their facility and continue to make it fan friendly. And, we continue to look forward to going back again and again and again. And you don't have any time to catch your breath. I know, you went home to swap suitcases. I had to come to Indy to take care of some studio stuff that I had on the calendar. And I'm flying home tonight so I can get on a plane tomorrow morning at 5:00 and go to Charlotte.
Yeah, that's a little crazy. Okay, before we let you go, two other questions. I don't expect you to have this one, but you're Alan. Maybe you do. Aaron wants to know if you can confirm that Kelly Kondratik is only the third driver to take out the number one qualifier from the 16th spot, and that in history, or is that just at the Keystone Nationals? I do not have that information, Aaron. Maybe Alan has something.
Well, it has definitely happened. I believe there's 10 or 11 times the number 16 qualifier has made the final in Top Alcohol Dragster. So she is certainly not the first one or the third one to make that happen at the national event level. As a matter of fact, it happened earlier this year. Was it Gainesville? Somewhere there was a 16 qualifier that actually went to the final round. So no, it doesn't happen on a weekly basis, but she's not the first to do it. And Sean Cowie was pretty annoyed about, the fact that his car smoked the tires in round one.
Yeah, that was wild. And some of the favorites went out. Phil Ez gets the win. Watching Bellamere in the night yank the tires 4 feet in the air at 200 feet out. That was pretty crazy too. NHRA.com has got a story that Nicole would like us to address. At the end of the show, can you discuss the article put out addressing driver replacement policy when it comes to female drivers and pregnancy? This is something that Leah, I don't know if it's going to be the Leah rule or not. It's slightly complex, so I encourage you all to go and read on NHRA.com. But Now, as long as you run one race in the season, there is a methodology for keeping and retaining points. Were you able to get into this, Alan? Because I know you were in the recording studio when it dropped.
No, I have not seen that, so I don't know. But I think that I would be against it. I think that the rules should apply to everybody. I mean, Joe, what if you wanted to get pregnant in the middle of the season? Is it only for women?
Right. Like, what if I want to do something?
Just saying.
I'll go into depth of the story. Like, I'll do some reading on the air here, but the headline is NHRA unveils new driver replacement policy amendment for female racers. For more than 7 decades, the NHRA has been at the forefront of championing women in motorsports, and that mission continues with the introduction of a groundbreaking policy, the first of its kind in motor racing, designed to support female racers who are starting a family. And I'll put meat on the bones for everybody in a second, but I got to look at the policy, and I'm like figuring it out. I hadn't thought of it in any other context other than, how's it going to work, right? How's it going to work? But bottom line is everybody can read it, and we'll go more in depth next week. How about that?
Okay, I'd have to read it too, because I'm really curious. My first thought was, does it work backwards? If Leah was slated to have a baby in March, could somebody else start the season for her and then her get back in the car in May or June and continue? And again,
hot take. Sounds like yes. The answer is whoever, as long as the replacement driver. Anyway, I'm going to read it, but my hot take sounds like yes. I don't have this just dropped, folks. It's on NHRA.com, and we're sorting it out live. But there is a new policy, and my hot take was yes to what you said. It can work.
Well, I'll get a chance to look at it. Maybe we can talk about it more next week.
Yes. Excellent. All right, Alan, great job. We'll see you in Charlotte. We're going to go again.
All right. Travel safe. I'm off to the airport.
Run. There he goes, Alan Reinhart. Appreciate you, Alan. There he goes. Yeah. What a wild one. He's flying back to Tucson to get back to Charlotte. Like, he's going to be a busy bee over the next couple of deals. Let's see. Shout out from Montana Karting. All right. So you want me to get into this? Let's get into this. Right. I'm ready to get into it. Like, I'm going to figure it out on the air, but I'm going to read the story from NHRA.com. I'm not going to read that. I'm going to read the competition policy PDF, which there are quotes on NHRA.com. And I guess if I'm going to do this the right way, we got to do both, right? I'm okay with that. Okay, we're going to break it all down right here. NHRA unveils new driver replacement policy. So I guess we'll start out with Phil Burgess's story. Guys, you're getting a cold read. I would love the fact that I would nail this, but maybe not. But this is what live is. Live. You seeing how the sausage gets made. We would encourage you. You know what? I'll do this after I tell you about a couple of other things. I gotta psych myself up, and I want you all to share the show. I want to say congratulations to Dave Morris, Dave and Sue. Such a great job winning Super Gas at their home race. Check out the Ignition Show, folks. You hear from Dave and Sue, and he tells this story and just so excited that they were able to win that race. We had very successful WFO meetups at Maple Grove. Hot Rod Randy's was the location of the meetup, which was perfect. And we just kept meeting up, and whether it was Bobby Fazio or Fast Eddie or Santino or Dave and Amy or Megan and everybody, Heiner, everybody tried to show up as best as they could. We had a great rotation at the WFO meetups. Megan, right? There's Dave and Sue. Megan made like friendship bracelets for everybody. It's like crazy what's happening in the WFO universe. And just so proud of our little community. Really, really proud of our community of racers and race fans. And we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep working hard to bring this all together. PowerTube TV, a great place to watch WFO when you're not watching online. Of course, we encourage you to subscribe, but if you happen to be in bed and you watch PowerTube TV, definitely be sure to check out WFO Radio. The merch store, discounted stuff, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, hats. I saw Mark Herzhauser, Nitro Funny Car team owner, walks into the media center. He's wearing WFO hat that I didn't give him. And it just blew my mind. What? And he's like, hey, it's Mark. I was like, I can't see anything under the hat, man. I like, it's such a weird experience. I became starstruck that someone bought a WFO hat that I didn't know about it. You know, for so many years, like I'm, sending out hats and everything, and amazing. So the link is in the chat right now, and it's always on our website and our social media. I encourage you to get our gear only when it's on sale. I want you to pay as little as possible for our WFO stuff so you can promote the show and tell other folks. Rodax Coffee. We're headed to the Stampede of Speed, guys. The Champions Dinner tickets are available. You know Marvin Rodak is going to be there. 817-924-6821. RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. For the racers that are going to the Stampede of Speed and the Fall Nationals at the Texas Motorplex, set it up that you can pick up your coffee from Marvin while you're there. That way you avoid all the shipping fees. He'll roast the coffee. He'll just give it to you. You put it in your trailer and you're stocked. Would love for everybody to do this. 817-924-6821. That's 817-924-6821. Call Rodax and get ready. Maybe you need a new grill for your tailgating or for your sportsman pit area. They've got grills and tools and tips and information, the best of the best at Rodax, and located in Fort Worth, right there when you go to the Stampede of Speed. And for everybody that's planning a trip, like I expect you all to be at the Stampede of Speed. I've got some very interesting news that I'm going to drop as we get closer. I'm going to drop some news that I think is going to blow your minds. I'm channeling my inner Galvin. I think I'm going to do. Holidays are coming. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. The Dragster Adventure is the best gift you're going to get anybody. Yeah, it's a little expensive. You better like them, or you want to, make them feel like you like them. Either way, Dragster Adventure, frankhawley.com. Go there. You can get them a gift certificate. They can redeem it at a track near them when Frank Hawley is going to be there. But again, sharing the experience. You can get them a tie. You can get them a shirt. You can get them one of those untuck it shirts because you think they don't look good in long shirts. You can do all of those things, but it won't be nearly as cool as the Dragster Adventure from Frank Hawley. It's just that simple. So go to frankhawley.com, call the number. When they answer, hey, the guy from WFO told me to order from you guys this thing. It's a great gift. And that will make us all happy. The folks at Foggett, can of Foggett in the home front, there's nothing better. You need this. Everybody needs a can of Foggett. Go to Summit. There you go. Get the logo right, guy. I got it right. Foggett.com. Gary Stinnett's company. Gary was racing at the Million this past weekend. How about the Million? Gage Birch, 8 total. Loads up, 3 total. Insane what happened at the Million this past week. We were watching in the tower. Yikes. Bernie Speed Shop. Happy birthday, Josh Hart. BURNYZD.com. If you have not followed them on their social media, you're failing me. Go see what they've got. Check out their cars. Next time you need a frame off restoration, you want to do something like top notch, A++. Bernie's is where you got to do it. That's their rep. That's what they do. And you've had to have seen it 100,000 square feet up close and personal in Ocala, Florida. HusseyPerformance.net. Let me tell you about David Allen and the team. They give out his personal phone number because that's how good they do. They have expanded valve cover gaskets, header gaskets, oil pan gaskets. They're not just copperhead gaskets anymore. 724-318-8292. And everything is made in the United States of America in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. He's going to be in Charlotte. So if you have any questions, David Allen going to be in Charlotte this weekend. I'm certainly going to pull him over and find out a little bit more because they have now expanded their line. Go to their website, HusseyPerformance.net, and whatever the combination, they are expanding. And they have contingency programs, Top Alcohol Dragster, Top Alcohol Funny Car, Top Dragster, Top Sportsman. That's in the NHRA. And in PDRA, it's Top Sportsman and Top Dragster. So all you sportsman racers, it pays to have Hussey Performance gaskets on your car. CWT Industries, guys, I know this is like limited, but if you know someone with a machine shop, an engine builder that has a balance machine that is old and antiquated, you got to let them know about CWT Industries and have them reach out to me, Joe at WFORadio.com. I'll put them together. And Randy Neal will get a CWT Industries machine in there and they'll pick up the pace. They'll earn more money. They'll put out a better product. It's as simple as that. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. The official Power Glide of Project Pontiac. But don't take me for an example, think about all the cars in the winner's circle, Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, Pro Mod, but they make street converters. They do everything at FTI, performance, transmissions, and torque converters. Total Seal piston rings. All I ask you to do is subscribe to the Hidden Horsepower podcast. That's it. Go back, check out the Jason Line episode. Check out the Pat Musey episode. Check out the Ed Pink episode. And you will hear from the greatest of the great when it comes to engine builders and why they use Total Seal. And Jesse Converters, DPF X Fit. If you're going over the road with diesel, heavy diesel, mid diesel, you're going to eventually need a catalytic converter, and Jesse needs to be your replacement converter. Scan that QR code to learn a little more about the folks at Jesse. And one more final thing before I do this cold read. Patreon.com. Got new Patreon signing up, sending out their shirts. If you sign up for a year, you're going to get a shirt. You get to watch the video of the Ignition show. You get Monday Motivation. You get to hear it from Heiner Pro Stock Show. You get to be a part of an amazing community. And most important, you support this. You make this happen. And yeah, it costs a little bit of a monthly fee, right? You're subscribing. You're becoming a member. But to me, they are the most devoted members of the WFO universe. All right, here we go. The NHRA unveils new policy. You've already read the slug, right? Designed to support female racers who are starting a family. No other motorsport has seen women achieve as much success as they have in the NHRA Drag Racing Series, where female competitors have consistently won championships and events. The newly introduced policy, championed by Top Fuel star Leah Pruitt and a coalition of women racers from the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, is an amendment to the current overarching driver replacement policy and marks another significant step forward. Pruitt, who achieved a career-best third-place finish in 2023, opted to sit out the 2024 season to focus on starting a family with her husband, Tony Stewart. She's expecting their first child in November. I was looking at my own situation. This is a quote from Leah now. I was looking at my own situation, not my situation, a couple of years ago after I got married and knowing that I wanted to have children, she said. It was a very uneasy time when you have something you've done your whole life, which is a concern to yourself with your team, your partners, your fans, and everything surrounding racing. I had to make what I considered one of the hardest decisions of my entire life, and that was not to race in 2024. I was having to make those decisions and having hard conversations with my team. I had just signed on to be their driver and had just come the closest I had ever been to winning a world championship. I felt I'm not the only person that has felt this or is going to feel this. Something needs to change. So Pruitt teamed up with the likes of Erica Enders, Angie Smith, Brittany Force, Julie Natus, Jasmine Salinas, and Anita Zetterstrom to help nudge the NHRA in the right direction. I was very open and transparent about what all the possibilities are that females would go through, whether it's being able to even sit in a race car and fire it up, Pruitt said. Early this season, NHRA consulted with its chief medical officer, Dr. Phil Surface, and various experts, including Dr. Peter Weiss and Dr. Carolyn Alexander, to address the intersection of drag racing and pregnancy. They held a call with female racers to discuss their preliminary thoughts and findings and provide a forum for questions on pregnancy and fertility. Dr. Alexander and I were honored to collaborate with the NHRA and its women racers to develop this policy, said Dr. Weiss. NHRA's forward-thinking approach ensures that women racers can compete safely without being disadvantaged by pregnancy and fertility-related concerns. Following these discussions, NHRA and the racers worked together to revise the existing replacement driver policy to accommodate pregnancy and fertility issues. Now, if you guys aren't impressed by my cold read skills, then I got to quit this. I got to go do something else, right? I got to go do something else. Forget the rule and the policy. This guy's getting through the cold read, incredibly. How's he doing it? I don't even know. Yes, it would have been cooler if I didn't pat myself on the back right in the middle, but I, too, am shocked. Initially, NHRA proposed that female racers would earn points for the season even if they only participated in a single race. However, the coalition, spearheaded by Pruitt, advocated for a more balanced approach. They proposed a system where points for both the pregnant racer and their replacement driver would be compared with the higher total being counted towards the season championship. The first draft was absolutely way more than generous, she acknowledged. Myself and Erica and Angie tried to put ourselves in our competitors' shoes. What is this? We didn't want anyone to think it's not fair, that it's not right. And how would we feel? So we said, no, I think it should be who gathers the most points. If I start the season and end up pregnant in May, then Tony came in and finished the season out for me, and he's in the countdown to the championship and went through the pressure and everything that it takes at the end, he should be the champion. If I gather the most points and somebody came in and finished the season for me, but I did the majority of the heavy lifting, well, then it would be in my name. And we all agreed that's where it should be. Interesting. The development of this policy is a great example for the collaboration between NHRA and its racers. And I think right there is where I will stop the cold read experiment. Because you're not going to get that much more information. And more importantly, why am I stopping the cold read? I know the vast WFO universe needs to read the story. And more importantly, NHRA.com needs the views. Go out there and read the rest of the story. We were just about to get to quotes from Glenn Cromwell. Oh my gosh, the quotes from Glenn Cromwell. You got to read it. Everybody go to NHRA.com. I don't want to get Phil, upset at me. Occasionally they post the show, right? So I don't want to take away like hundreds and thousands of views that they might have had. Seems reasonable. Seems reasonable. Yeah. So Jasmine Salinas would have made the countdown. Is that fair? It's probably in the story. But her dad, Mike, ran the first race in the car, had to step aside for his medical issue. Is that also covered? I'll have to read the rest of it. Final comments in the comments section. Yes. Ant Dog out there doing DoorDash. Ant Dog, who is a BMXer, wanted me to mention a couple of weeks ago that a legend passed, and I want to do it now. Harry Leary, BMX legend, was out there and unfortunately succumbed to the heat in Arizona, but one of the pioneers. And so I didn't know Harry because I was not that knowledgeable about BMX, but thanks to Ant Dog, I went out there and read all about him. And this guy was as OG as it gets. And that's WFO, legend of the sport, and also directly helped Mr. Ant Dog in his own BMXing career. So shout out to Mr. Leary and Ant Dog and everybody in the BMX community. I know we're a couple of weeks late, but hopefully that is you guys are no longer, dealing with the difficulty of losing a legend. Like it is something that we have done a lot here in the NHRA, and it always hurts. Nicole, great job. You're doing the 5 p.m. news tonight. Yeah, right? Teleprompter? Oh, I would kill it on a teleprompter. I'd kill it. I choose to do drag racing. I choose to do drag racing, guys. Some people say, Joe, the only reason you do drag racing is because you stink and you can't do any other sport. It's sad when that happens. Let's see. If John Force was pregnant, the same thing would happen. I think it's a good call. The NHRA needs future racers bred from good stock. Yeah. Hope to see you at zMAX. Great show today. Great show, Joe. See you in Charlotte. Exactly. I'll see you in Charlotte. Just like that. We're on our way and we're out of here. Maple Grove, the best place to start the playoffs. What an event. What a race. Kenny Koretsky was out there. Good to see Kenny back. Kyle, great job. The whole fam. Drag racing. You get it or you don't, really. I think it's the kind of thing. That's why we're a bit of a niche sport. The Fox adjacent show, I guess the Top Fuel final didn't get on the big network. The little delays, right? They're not going to hold up the NFL, guys. You're asking too much. Sorry. They're not going to hold up the NFL. They moved us to FX. I think it's a bummer. We'll try again harder. We'll try again next time. We lost a couple of minutes along the way. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Pretty excited about what's coming up. Charlotte, St. Louis, and the Stampede of Speed. Guys, if you haven't already got your tickets for the Stampede of Speed and the Champions Dinner, you got to do so. It's going to be great. It's one of the best single nights in all of drag racing. We have a good time. Got some news about Project Pontiac. Ordered our Pack springs, the valve springs from Pack. Very excited. I got a line on a set of valve covers that are going to knock our socks off. Getting closer and closer. Sennett's got the rods and pistons in the block. Amazing. Getting closer and closer. But over the course of the weekend, for me, the best thing was the WFO meetups. So many people who are in our WFO universe coming out, spending a little time, getting to know one another. Like our little drag racing fam. You don't have to be part of it, but if you wanted to, you're welcome. All right, guys. Thanks to Hector Jr. Thanks to Antron. Thanks to Alan. We'll see you guys in Charlotte. WFO.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.